Your $5,000 Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, check is coming in the mail, courtesy of Elon and Donald Trump.
Sir, Elon Musk is proposing potentially giving money to Americans based on what DOGE is finding. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I love it. A 20% dividend, so to speak, for the money that we're saving by going after the waste and fraud and abuse and all of the other things that are happening. I think it's a great idea.
How much money do you think?
Could be a lot. I mean, if it's 20%, we'd give back a lot of money to the taxpayer. And also it'd give an incentive for the taxpayer to go out and report things to us where we can save money.
I'm sorry, who exactly is not in favor of this idea? I know that I am 1,000,000% because I pay large amounts of my earnings each year for the privilege of having been born in America, something that I'm actually truly grateful for, to be a citizen of a country where speech is protected, unlike those fascists in Germany right now, where if the state determines you've insulted somebody, you're going to jail.
Is it a crime to insult somebody in public?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And
I'd be serving several back-to-back life sentences. But I digress. The DOGE team is eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse, getting rid of absolutely retarded programs like paying people to spread their bigoted DEI racism, or funding transgender operas in Peru, or Social Security checks going out to Civil War veterans. We should all be incredibly grateful for this administration that is actually, for the first time, at least since Bill Clinton, even looking into cutting the public sector. Because eventually what would happen is that we would get so far in debt that one way or another, the country's finances would implode the nation. I mean, right now we're already paying more in interest than we are for military. Moving towards a balanced budget means the country needs to borrow less, meaning lower interest rates, means the cost of living becomes cheaper. There's more room for investment. Balancing the budget means less inflation eating away at the savings of seniors and people that have tucked away dollar bills under their mattress, and hopefully lower prices in the grocery store. Now here is a counter to this that we definitely should consider, and that is the fact that we already are so far in debt that we need all that money to pay down the budget deficit. Already, Congress is salivating, looking at these savings and thinking of new ways to spend that money, and we can't even let them consider it. And it's not that there isn't validity to this point, but for DOGE to make serious and deep cuts, you are going to need massive public support, especially when they go after the military or entitlements. And when people realize that the government is being held accountable to how they are spending the money that they are personally pouring into the system like you and I do every April 15th, the public sentiment will move swiftly in favor. And when US taxpayers receive their $5K rebate check, DOGE's approval will soar into the 90s. They'll be like, find more fraud, Elon. Come on, Donald, find the fraud. $1 million to buy the book DEI, baby? No way. Give our money back. We get to decide how our money is spent. And that is a check on government and their spending. And that counter will give the grifters who are benefiting from the government largesse and fraud using the state-sponsored media apparatus to try to cry and propagandize the public about the Civil War vets that are losing their Social Security and telling us how chaotic and dystopian it is to hold government responsible for how they spend our money. And that is none of our damn business what they do with it. All the NPCs that would normally repeat the regime's talking points, well, that's definitely outweighed on the teeter-totter by the massive check that they will be receiving. And it's not making money up out of thin air and redistributing it to your political allies. These are savings going back to the original contributors, not like a bribe. For example, Joe Biden attempting to override the Supreme Court, which struck down his student loan forgiveness.
Tens of millions of people in debt were literally about to be canceled, their debts. And the Supreme Court blocked it. They blocked it. But that didn't stop me. The Supreme Court blocked me from relieving student debt, but they didn't stop me.
Which was truly merely wealth redistribution, specifically from the poor to the rich. DOGE will be riding high on the wave of public energy as they override the corrupt and morally bankrupt blue team's attempt to protect the graft that flows into their pockets. Even just now, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said,
politically, that would be great for us, send everybody a check. But if you think about our core principles, right, fiscal responsibility is what we do as conservatives. That's our brand. And we have a $36 trillion federal debt.
Sorry, it is not only politically expedient to distribute a DOGE dividend, but at least one time it will demonstrate that the government is actually accountable to people in a way that is not just one less zero on a piece of paper that they're never going to see. It will spur an interest in government and people cheering on efficiency, which is one of my favorite words in the English language. And I look forward to receiving my 5K DOGE dividend, as I'm sure many of you out there do as well. And given the fact that Democrats and health officials have killed millions of chickens before Trump came in using the excuse of bird flu to do it, and a month into his administration, they're screaming at the top of their lungs that Trump hasn't lowered the cost of eggs. Well, I'm going to be spending my dividend check and buy me a dozen eggs. Hey, it's what the blue team has allowed me to afford.